is going to be part 2 of my series where I talk about my experience as a domestic violence survivor. I'm going to try to tell these incidents in chronological order, but like I tried to make a list of them, but it's like abusers don't strike once or twice. It's not like a seldom thing. When they see that they can get away with it, it becomes a habit. So it happens really frequently. But I'm going to try to explain the ones that I feel like will be very impactful for victims living it right now, and for survivors, and just for people that have no idea what domestic violence is. They've never encountered it, they've never been affected by it, and whether you know it or not, you probably do know somebody that is either an abuser or has been abused. It's more common than you think. People just don't talk about it, because I know these videos are gonna make a lot of people uncomfortable, people that I know and that I love. But I've had to set those notions aside and do this for me, and to spread that awareness that domestic violence is real. I'm gonna kind of reiterate on the last story that I told in the part 1 of this series. The first big red flag was my abuser lying to me about being home, and instead he was at a club, got arrested for possession. I didn't know he was on drugs. I didn't know he was at the club. He lied to me. But I stayed. I paid for our first place, furnished it, everything, so I could give him a fresh start to help him. Then the other incident that I spoke about in part 1 was the very first weekend that we were living together. He left me at home. I was sick. He was supposed to just go grab food with his friends, and he was gone the whole day. I cried because this man made it seem like he would give me the moon and stars. And when he treated me this way with such disrespect, and just, it was like I was nothing to him. I was shocked. I was very heartbroken. And when he got home from being with his friends, they were not just eating, he was drunk when he got home. And we got into an argument, but it wasn't much of an argument, because he was just kind of berating me, belittling me, making fun of my feelings instead of validating them. I mean, you can't really expect any emotional maturity from somebody that was wasted out of his mind. But that's what I dealt with. And some of you might hear that story and think, oh, that's nothing. She says that that's abuse. That's not abuse. That is abuse. Okay? I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think, what your definition of abuse is. That's abuse. That is mental abuse. That is emotional abuse. When you make your spouse's feelings, make them feel like their emotions are invalid, and you go out, you lie to them and say you're going to do one thing and you do another, that's manipulation. That's abuse. To kind of help myself with this process, I'm gonna do my makeup. My kids are napping. I'm gonna attempt to do my makeup. I am not by any means a makeup guru. I don't know what is what, but I know that I have blemishes and dark circles, and I want to cover that up. And I probably need to tweeze my eyebrows, but we're not gonna do that today because I'm on a time crunch. There's a fly. I have been trying to kill that fly all morning. Anyway, sorry for being weird. No, I'm not sorry. That's just how I am. So I've already moisturized my face. I am going to, I have a primer, and I'm gonna put that on first because I get this really bad crease in my, like, only when I wear makeup, because I scratch my face really bad. So it looks really bad with makeup on. It looks way worse with makeup on. I just don't know how to apply makeup correctly. So you guys can judge me and give me some pointers because I need them. So I'll put on this primer and then I'll get into the story. I kind of wrote down like a little bit of guidance right here so I can navigate through this. We had just moved into this place and we had a little housewarming party, and our friends and family showed up, and we had like a bounce house, and it was hot out, and I was just playing around, and I sprayed him with the water hose, and he got pissed. He got the water hose, like he snatched it from me, and he sprayed me like, my intention was just to have fun, and his intention was way different. And so I don't think I should have put concealer first. Oh, I'm telling you, I don't know how to do my makeup. I should have put, you know what, whatever. So when he did that, I knew, I could just see it in his face, like he was pissed. And he did it to be mean back. And our friends and family, they were there, and it was really just his friends, because this relationship really isolated me from my friends. I really didn't hang out with anybody other than my cousin that was dating one of his best friends. But our family saw it, and it was so embarrassing. Like, I was so embarrassed. I went inside and I cried. And the people that are thinking, you're just dramatic, or you're overreacting, or you're just emotional, you're probably a narcissist or have narcissistic tendencies, or you're just a mean person. Because yes, I am an emotional person, but I feel like anybody in that situation would have saw that that was not okay, and they would have felt some kind of way about it. And so I went inside and I cried, and I can't remember, one of my family members went in and checked on me. And I don't believe he was drunk yet. But his drinking, I drank a lot when I was younger, but entering this relationship, I really cut back on my drinking. And it's really because I knew how he would get when he was drunk. So I was a little scared to get that way while he was drunk. You know, one of us had to be sober, and usually it was always me because he never gave me the option otherwise. That was another example. Early on, we had just moved in together, and still I made excuses for him and just kind of brushed it off, because it's like, well, we're living together, you know, this is just the beginning. Like, we have to learn how to be a couple. Like, we're both learning what we like, what we don't like, you know, just excuses. But that kind of behavior is not behavior that a decent person exhibits, okay? Like, you can make as many excuses as you want for somebody's bad behavior, but once it becomes a pattern and you're just seeing it all the time, you can't make excuses. You can't continue to make those same excuses. Another occasion, we were fighting. We fought very frequently over money. And it was more because his spending, he would spend his money on going to the bar. And it was, okay, go have a few drinks, that's fine. But he would do it behind my back. And the only way that I would find out is on our bank statements. So, like, the lies just continued, and I made excuses. He was not sorry. He was just like, okay, I won't do it again. And then it would happen again. One time, we fought about it because I wanted to go on a family vacation. Well, like a little road trip. My family was going to the lake one summer. And we couldn't go. We couldn't afford it. But he could afford, like the weekend before, to go and get shit-faced. And so I was just like very upset about it. And he didn't, my family was like offering, well, like, we'll help you out. And it upset him. And that's what these abusers do. They isolate you from your family. They make you feel like you don't have anybody to go to, and like they're everything. They're your world. And so he made it seem like he did not want to go to this road trip, And he made me feel like shit about it, and we got into a fight about it. And honestly, I don't remember if he was drunk this time, but I was at home. I went home and I started packing up my stuff. And I know that there's details that I'm missing, but I can't remember for the life of me. Like, I can't remember what led up to this point, but I was at home packing because I was ready to leave. And my aunt was there with me. And my abusive ex was banging on my front door. And when I would not answer, he kicked it down. He tore the door, like the door came off of the frame. Like it ruined that door frame. And this was a rental, okay? This guy just had no regard for anything. But he thought I was home alone. And when he realized that my aunt was there, my family had never really seen that side of him. And so when he realized that she was there, he changed his demeanor so fast. Because she told him, she was like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh no, Tia, I'm so sorry. Like, no, like he tried to make an excuse for it. And she's like, you don't act like that. Like, she called him out and she told him like not to be acting like that. And she's like, you can come back later. She's getting her stuff. And he was like, okay. And he left. And I don't really remember what happened after that, but I didn't stay gone. I went back. Let's see if this is another example. Oh, I laugh because, like I had mentioned a little earlier, he'd go to the bar all the time with his friends, go out, go get drunk, and waste our money. So he would be, real wasteful with the money, specifically on this problem, this alcohol problem. Like when alcohol, it's a problem when it's interfering with your finances, with your relationship. It's making you become this different person. That I feel like that's alcoholism. Like when it is affecting you and it has that kind of impact on your life, that you really should probably not be drinking, I feel like you could be labeled an alcoholic. And I know that from experience because I don't drink anymore. I am sober since 2017. But back to the story. One day I saw on our bank statement that he had gone to the bar and spent so much money, whatever. Did not mention this trip to me at all. I did not know he had gone to the bar. I found out from a bank statement. I spoke to him and I voiced my frustration, and he was like, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. And I was fed up. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm gonna do what you do to me, I'm gonna do it to you. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm going out tonight. And he was like, you better not, or we're breaking up. And I was like, I don't care. He had my ID. So I told him, leave my ID on the bar. And he was like, you better not go out or we're breaking up. And I didn't care. I went home after work and I cleaned. And when he got home, I was cleaning. So he just assumed that I wasn't going out. But I cleaned up my house so that I could go out. And I grabbed my ID from the bar and I left. And when I walked out of the door, he said, if you leave, we're breaking up. And I was like, okay, go for it. I was just I was like, you cannot, like, you don't like it, do you? And so I went out and I got drunk that night, and my cousin brought me home, and I threw up everywhere, and he had to take care of me. So it was like that was my way of giving him a taste of his own medicine. And he was very upset about it, obviously. But we didn't break up. He didn't break up with me, like he said. But those kinds of threats from an abusive person. They think that, they're gonna threaten you with either, if you break up with me, I'm gonna kill myself. If you go, we're breaking up. Those were things that he said to me on multiple occasions. So it's like, okay, they were empty threats, but it's enough to scare you, and they know that. They know that you love them, and they use that against you. That's abuse. That's abuse. I don't care what you say. That is abuse. I really have a feeling that people are going to watch this and be like, she's being dramatic. That's not abuse. You've never been in an abusive relationship. If you think that that's abuse, that's not abuse. And if you think that's not abuse because you're going through it, you're making excuses for your abuser. They have abusers, people with narcissistic tendencies, they have this power over their victims where they can literally brainwash them, and they manipulate them so much to the point of where the abuser, everything that the abuser says is right, and everything that the victim thinks or says is wrong. That's what abusers do. And they can convince family and friends that they are just the best person ever. And meanwhile, behind closed doors, they are the devil. And I don't say that lightly. I'm a very spiritual person, and I know the devil is evil. But people like that are evil. I don't know how to do my makeup, but I don't know if y'all been watching what I've been putting on my face. I don't know what it is, so like, I'm not gonna link anything in the description box because I'm not a professional. I actually would like if y'all would tell me, oh girl, you're not doing that right, or give me some pointers, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. I don't even think that this foundation is my right shade, my right color, but I'm too cheap to go out and buy a new one, and I thought this one was like an expensive one. It's a little benefit. Hello, happy. Anywho, I'm gonna tell you one more example, and then I will wrap up this video. There was one day that my abusive ex was out all day, and I was at home all day doing laundry, cleaning, and I was sick. I was so isolated. I had nobody. I wouldn't go spend time with my family. Like, he was everything, and he made sure that that's how it was. But he had friends, family that he would just leave me to go and see. And in this relationship, I tried so hard I would invite his friends to come over. We'd have barbecues. I'd be the only girl there a lot of the times with these single guys that were friends with my abusive ex, because I tried to be the cool girlfriend. I tried to be, I tried to make him happy. And so he would go out and leave me, and I would have nobody. And a lot of times he would do it without even saying anything. We would have a fight. We'd have one of those explosive fights, and he would just take off. And so this was one of those days. He left, and me and my cousin were like, you know what? Because her boyfriend was best friends with my abusive ex, and so both of the guys had gone out, and they were just spending the day drinking. And my cousin, we decided to go grab some food and a drink at a restaurant. Well, when we came back, or while we were out, my ex was texting me and like accusing me of cheating. I was like, are you serious? Because I wasn't home. That was his excuse, because I was not home. So I was just completely, I was fired up. I was like, I can't believe this man. So my cousin takes me home, and there my drunk, out of his mind abuser is laying in our bed, and he's crying, and he's like, who is he? You're cheating on me, because our sheets were washed. He said, why are the sheets washed? And I was like, it's laundry day. I was so upset. And so I was like, you know what, I'm leaving. And I got into my car. I had a Jeep, and it had the fifth wheel on the back, and his work truck was parked behind me, and he would not move his truck, and he didn't want me to leave. He went outside in his underwear drunk, and he was like begging me to stay, and I was like, move your fucking truck. And he wouldn't move it, and I reversed into it because I had that fifth wheel, so I could, wasn't gonna do anything to my car. And he was like, you're fucking crazy. And let me tell you guys, the minute that a victim reacts, we're crazy. We are fucking psychopaths. That's what these abusers do. They're the ones that act like these evil people, and they tear us down so far that when we finally react, we're crazy. That's called reactive abuse. Look it up. It's a thing, okay? And so a lot of times when we react, we feel guilty, because then we feel like we're just as bad as them. But that's not. You can only be provoked to, we're human, you can only take so much before you react. And if you are in a violent environment, your reaction most likely is going to be violent. Not that it's okay, not that it's condoned, but there's an explanation for it, okay? Anyway, so he moved his truck and I left. Don't remember what happened after that, but we stayed together. Surprise. And I know a lot of you are probably listening to these stories and these examples and thinking, girl, why the hell didn't you leave sooner? Only a victim of domestic violence, a survivor of domestic violence can tell you that. Only somebody that has gone through that can answer that question for you. You will never be able to understand. I can only articulate it so much, but you still will not ever understand unless you're in that situation. And I wish I would have left sooner. I wish so many things. But I was in such a toxic environment, such a manipulated relationship, that I thought my only choice was to stay and make it work. I didn't want to leave and feel like the failure of our relationship was all my fault. I didn't want to carry that burden, because every single time I would try to leave, my abuser would promise to change. He would cry and beg me to stay. And he would even throw in, church and God. And if you go to church and you believe in God, that's the worst type of manipulation that your abuser can use against you, because they know that's what you want. You want a godly man. You want a man that's going to bring your family together and closer to God. And that's what he would promise. So, and I feel like I'm not going to say that religion is toxic because I am religious, but a lot of survivors and victims in domestic violence, they cling to their religion, and religion oftentimes preaches forgiveness. But that, let me clarify, forgiveness does not mean that you have to stay. No, like a million times no. You can, when you want to forgive somebody, when the church teaches forgiveness, it's because it's for you, it's for your soul. And when you forgive somebody, that is like, it's lifting that burden off of you. It's not for the other person. So you can forgive them, but you can leave. This is my makeup look. I hate to switch it up that quick, but we are nearing about 25 minutes and I don't like my videos too long. So I think I got through a few stories. If you have some suggestions on what I need to do to my face, let me know. I don't know what I'm doing. If you have questions about, because I kind of just ran through these examples pretty quickly and hit like a lot of the vital points in them. I'm trying to give like specific examples so that if you're going through it, you can recognize that you are going through it. And if you've never seen it, you've never been affected by domestic violence, those are examples that you can compare and think. Like if you're in a new relationship and you're questioning if it's toxic or not, and you heard any of those examples and thought, I'm going through that, yeah, you should probably go. Get out of the relationship. I do not condone bullying, violence, abuse in any way, shape, or form. I will not be using my abuser's name. And everything that was just discussed in this video is alleged for legal reasons. Like that first step is to realize if your relationship is toxic. The next step would be make a plan to leave. There's a statistic that says most victims of abuse try at least 7 times to leave before they are successful. Don't quote me, I'm pretty sure that's the number. Sounds right because I tried to leave so many times. Be compassionate, people. Be kind. And if you choose to forgive, do it for you. And you don't have to stay. Forgiveness does not mean having to stay. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe and hit that notification button. Bye.